Okay, so to get this line off, first off, you got to remove your wiring here. Tape it off because it's positive. You got these 10mm bolts to remove so you can get the wiring harness so you can remove it. And then what you'll do is unbolt it, slide it out forward, then pull it back down through, and then back up and out. As you can see, there it is. But those housings have a tendency of breaking on those fittings, so we're going to go ahead and remove that fitting there, down there. Inspect that fitting's good, because usually I have the problem with that fitting breaking, not the line itself. So there you go on how. As you can tell, I placed some epoxy on it, kind of ran it smooth. Gonna have to take some sandpaper, clean it up, but I think we might be able to use it. Yeah, I just gotta push it over a little bit and it looks like it's gonna fit. Now you see what I was doing. Because these plastic things suck and they go out on you constantly. So as you can see, I cut pieces of aluminum, drilled a hole right up there so I can grease it. And this should last the life of the truck. Well, that's John with Go Mobile. And we are heading to a job here. We got a trailer that we are rebuilding the axles on. New S-cams, new slack adjusters, everything, including airbags and spring or pivot bushings. So I'm gonna get you there and we're gonna show you what we got going on. Did a little bit last night, got it going. It's a bigger job than a lot of people think. Well, on that notion, I'll show you what it looks like. So let's see what we got here. Well, we gotta get this one apart still and get it done. And that one we gotta get done. But we got the wheels off. And we got this axle here. As you can tell, yeah, we did new airbags too. But all new. Drums, brakes, hub seals, hubs. The whole works. Including the bushings. The only thing we didn't replace are the shocks. So I'm gonna get back to hammering on this, get some. Well, you're looking at a hub. On these hubs right here, there's a little Allen right down there. I don't know if you can see it right there. You heat that up as you put it upside on. And they're such little Allens, you heat them up and they come loose, so they're relatively easier than they would otherwise. Well, the reason I'm filming this is this guy bought this differential, so I want you guys to see the shape of it. We're going to have to open that cover up, get those axles out of it. As you can tell, the backing plates are completely bent and damaged. So the original quote changed, and now we're live. Just also want to note, I don't believe, and they even tried to drain the oil out of this differential. All I did was pull the cover on it, and it's even sitting nose heavy. And we still got it filled. Well, it's almost, yeah, it's probably up to operating range when I went to pull it out. Once again. Well, as you can tell by that dryness there, don't forget about all the little metal flakes. Right there's one. There's another one. Right there.
So she quit spinning. You guys can see right there. I have to say, I think this rear end's toast. Well, the fun part now is going to be to see if I can get that center pin out of it and get those axles kicked in so I can get this bad boy off. Oh, now I just gotta pull the brakes off. So I gotta get the wheels, brakes off, see if I can get that center pin out so I can use those. This guy definitely cooked it.
Well, this is John. Been a little bit. We got another issue right here. Caterpillar Acert. Now you guys can't see it, but I don't know if you guys can hear it. That is not a good sound to be coming out of the turbo. So what we're going to do on this is we're going to take this off, this off, this off, this off, this off, this off. Take all this off. So, because apparently tomorrow, apparently tomorrow, the stuff's going to show up for this truck to put it back together and back on the road. Then we got that one. That one I got to build an engine for. I got the block right there, and there's the pieces right there off the old block. So get that put together, and hopefully it's going to work just fine. Oh, yes, and that's sitting on my homemade stand I made. Yeah. Went a little overkill on the stand, but for as much engine work as I do for these people, yeah, you're probably not overkill on it because big rush on everything. But the first thing you need to do when you start on one of these, which I already inspected the turbo, and I pulled all those doodads off of it, never put them back on, but right down there is the coolant. I need to get the coolant reservoir low enough to pretty much disable the cooler right here. These right here used to be a big problem with them, not so much anymore because more people have gotten away from their Caterpillar engines. But these things run super hot, and so they don't melt the radiator. You have to eliminate this, or yeah, no, vice versa. To keep it from melting the air-to-air tubing or the air-to-air itself, you have to cool the air, which is an additional cooler which cools the air beforehand. Great design. It how I want to put it, it fixed something that there wasn't really a problem for until they started twin turboing them. Never had to worry about your air temperatures getting that hot, but when they started twin turboing them, turboing these engines, excuse me, they created a lot of heat. And I remember, because I'm getting a little bit older now, I remember when these first started coming out, they produced a lot of heat and there was a ton of issues. And on top of them, they've gone through series. This is the later series. That one right there is an earlier series, which we won't even get started on what somebody did here. This thing was at some other shop and they bypassed that cooler, because that cooler is like $1,200 some, if not more nowadays. They bypassed it, just ran a tube straight into it. So that truck back there, the one you're seeing right back there, the exhaust temperatures just ran astronomically high. I don't understand how that didn't destroy a turbo with them being as high, or melt boots off of it, but it didn't. This one here, yeah, this one here, we need to eliminate all those goodies, get everything bare, get the manifold off the block, get all that fun stuff done. Like I said, now the lights are kind of warmed up. That's what makes these fun to work on, because there's certain little hoses. There's a hose right down here, in between here and there. Oh, nope, this one's solid. They took that out. But it used to be, you had to remove all this to get to that. But just so you guys kind of know, and I'll give you kind of a heads up here and there, when we're removing all this stuff, it is a chore. Yeah, it can be a chore. But 850,000 on the engine, and she finally lost the turbo, so what can you say? That's not too bad. We got Cummins X15s out there that make 350 on them and window the engines. Well, now we got a little bit more room. You can kind of see it. Let's get the light on here as soon as I figure out how to turn it. Okay, see that? See what we're missing now? The art head is, oh God. Now you can really hear it. But the art head is off the truck. Now, these little bolts down here wouldn't be normally a pain in the butt, but they got this heat shielding on here, which you need. And that heat shielding is in the way of getting to the bolt head. But we got that off. Now we're going to take this bracket off because that'll be no longer needed. Now, as you can see, you have to remove this to time the motor. See that? All this has to be removed to time the motor. So now we got all that off there. Now let's go ahead and start undoing turbos. We got this all loose right here. We got the intake, the lower tube out right here. Yep, so we just got some lines to pull off. That'll just get capped. This will be turned into a one-way. Yep, there we go. Oh, we got this one right here. This will be the one we'll use right down here. This lower one right here. That'll be the one we'll use. And there we go. Then we can get to the manifold. All this stuff just to get to the manifold. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys can see it right here. That right there is what I talk about, why engineers and mechanics don't get along. As you can see that right there. How do you think that comes out of there so you can get that bolt out of there? Any guesses? I'll give you a couple of them, and it requires you to do a couple items. One, you turn that off by hand. Take it all the way off by hand. Then you're going to fight because that stud is long enough that it will not pass that cooler. Now what I do, which probably isn't the right way, is I can go ahead, I can undo this whole entire water manifold, which most likely I'll probably just go ahead and not do, because do that you got to take the AC pump off. What I like to do is get in there, I just cut the bolt off and remove the manifold, because that stud's got to come out of there. Most likely it will be locked on there, so hopefully it locks on so we can get it out. And if we can get it out, we can remove that manifold without removing that, therefore saving the customer money and making my time a lot more valuable. By the way, I don't know if you guys can see all this stuff down here, and this is all cast iron. This ain't, well, the outsides of the turbos aren't, but majority of this is cast iron, heavy metal. How much weight did you think it added to the engine to help it become more emissions friendly? If you see this, leave it in the comments.